What's good? I'm Nomad the Native, and you are tuned into The Snippet, a comfortable spot where we let the art spark the conversation. I link with artists, and we take a deep dive into the emotions and context that drive our creativity. So, join us as we connect, collaborate, and converse here on The Snippet. Welcome. It is not a sample. It is not a clip. It's not a snapshot. It's a snippet, baby. I'm Nomad the Native, and today I have my good friends, April and Vista. They are a amazing musical duo, and I'm really happy to have you guys on the show. So, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Of course. As per the name, we gotta play the game. So, oh yeah. So we're gonna play a snippet, and I'm gonna play a snippet of the song. It's your song "Cooperators" because that's the one you said.
Yeah.
And afterwards we'll kind of like dig into it a little bit.
But,
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Follow me. There is nothing out there for you to see. Hurry, hurry, don't be late, 'cause there is nothing out there. You've got some building to do, 10,000 stories to climb. You've got another thing coming if you thought you were controlling.
And only play a snippet. I want to play the whole damn song. I want to play the whole song. I told you to pick a spot. And I played longer than I usually do too. All right, so I know there's so much more to that song, but like, break it down for me. What is that song? What is the sonics about? Because like that's the opening from your last album, Pit of My Dreams. So like, again,
sonically, it's all kind of surrounding textures, like at the base of it. I had a teacup and spoon, Get Out style, and just recorded
that's
that.
that kind of. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so there's that, and April's Korg SV1 got amazing, e-piano sounds that we were using on everything at the time. So that was kind of the base. We were making a song that kind of sounded like you're being hypnotized, which is plays into the theme of the song "Cooperators." The song is really just like a mid-20s angst song.
It's about capitalism.
It's about capitalism. It's about as an artist feeling like, the struggles of not being able to align perfectly with like societal expectations, and how you feel like you're kind of punished by that. You're struggling because it's hard to, be happy doing the things that other people are happy doing, and, find stability through that. So in that we were calling it like a struggle to cooperate. Song about cooperators. So in the song, April's kind of like lulling you into this
Into a lie.
Yeah,
so it's like the system is speaking to you. What would it say to you? And how could you? I was trying to personify that feeling of being stuck and into this like kind of a loop situation where I'm just like going to work and nothing is working, and I'm trying to get music to speak to me, but all I hear is this voice instead. So what is it saying to me? So that's what those lyrics are about.
Yeah, trying to lure you out.
Like a siren singing a song,
Yep.
getting you to jump off the ship and drown.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
So
That's what Follow Me means. And a lot of people say, it's actually very dire.
I love it.
Yeah, but that's why the sonics sound that way too. Because like in Matt's world, he's having these conflicting feelings, right? So the music is on that entire record is very like very jarring at times. There's a lot of screams and static, and that song has all of those things.
Yeah, we did it all around the pandemic, so
Mm-hmm.
it's we all collectively kind of felt that way.
Frustrated.
That frustration.
Yeah.
That's what the whole project was really.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the work that I was making at that time was also
Mm-hmm.
quite frustrating.
Yeah.
I haven't put it out.
Do it.
I haven't put it out yet, but yeah, no, I plan on it. So like my idea was that I wasn't ready
Mm-hmm.
to execute it in full.
Mm-hmm.
So I waited until I had what I felt I needed to start working on it. And now that I feel like I had what I need,
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently like actually polishing and like executing that idea now.
Yeah,
But
that's great.
it's so dark.
Yeah.
And part of me is like, do I want to revisit that darkness?
That's also true.
You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I was having a conversation with my mans about this the other day. It was like the emotional toll it takes to like go back to a certain place when you made something but you're no longer there.
Mm-hmm.
And then like to have to revisit and embody that and feel those feelings all over again.
Yeah, and then potentially like perform it over and over.
Yeah.
And you have to take yourself there over and
Mhm.
over again. Like,
How
it's
was that
rough.
like performing this project even because this came out
21.
21
Yeah.
and you performed it as recently as like last year, right? So how is it continuing to carry some of that darkness from 2020 all the way into 2023?
Well, what's funny is we did focused performances around this project only like twice.
Mm-hmm.
2 shows where this was the music we're playing. For the last 2 tours that we did, it was like maybe 3 or 4 songs from this project,
Yeah.
and then
The rest was new.
new music from the new project because we're not there
Yeah.
anymore,
Fair.
Mhm.
and we're just just trying out the new stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And it was fine. Like, I think the music on Pit of My Dreams is so, like, lush and involved. There's so many different sounds and layers that it's actually really fun to play.
Yeah.
Lyrically, I just having to revisit where I was back then. I kind of, instead of putting myself inside of a bad place each time, I was more of like focused on thinking of it more of like, this is just like a diary entry rather than I'm gonna
Revisiting that energy.
put myself
Yeah.
there each time. Like, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna visit who I was and read, almost like I'm reading,
Reflect on yourself like,
reflecting. It was
man,
more
this
of
is
a
where I was.
reflection. Yeah, and actually doing it that way and thinking of it that way made me feel so grateful that we survived.
Mm.
And so when we were performing it, I remember we were in New York and we had like 2 shows back to back at Brooklyn Steel. On the last show, we were sitting down at side stage after we had just got off stage, and I just started crying but it was happy tears. I was so grateful that we were performing and that we're actually still making music, because back then we didn't know if this was ever going to be a viable thing anymore. Like, it was a very scary time.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm okay with revisiting that, because it's a reminder that when things get tough and when you feel like all hope is lost, or if you feel like it's just not going to work out for you, this is like a reminder of what we have accomplished, and that we, just by sticking through that and continuing, we made it, and we're okay, and we can play these songs and reflect instead of like be stuck there,
And finishing any project is like a small miracle, right?
Yep.
Like getting to the end of it when you didn't have anything before, you're like, how did I end up with this many songs completed?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
like the fact that we actually finished like a song, like a project that was like that vulnerable and deep and digging like that.
At a time where things were shut down, right after we pressed the vinyls, the whole vinyl industry kind of like blew up, because you couldn't, like, that was like 2021, 22, like everything kind of shut down
Mm-hmm.
because people were trying to press too much stuff and they couldn't.
They
Like,
couldn't meet demand.
they couldn't meet demand, so we were just like, man, we kind of like, skirted it.
About
there,
skin of your
so-
teeth.
Yep, skin of your teeth. Like,
Yeah.
got in there, pressed these vinyls. We finished this project. Like, I don't know. It's like a triumphant moment, really.
Hey man, I love that. I love it. Okay. So I had a question for each of you separately. Because I've been listening to y'all for so long and following y'all. Your April, your vocal performances and your lyricism is so passionate, and I want to know what drives that passion because it's been years. Like I think you guys first connected like 10 years ago. So like, you know what I mean? All these years, all these different performances, all these different songs and projects. What continues to drive that passion that you have in your writing and performance?
Yeah, well, a lot of it just comes from, I don't know, I've never actually been asked a question like that before. I really appreciate that. 'Cause now I have to reflect. I guess what drives my passion for writing and performance is that one is something that I have always done. Like I come from a family of musicians who, and like we joke, every Thanksgiving was like a showcase. You had to bring your instrument. You had to be ready to perform something in front of the entire, the entire family, and you needed to be on point. You can't suck. Like you gotta actually sound like you were practicing. Like it. So like my drive to perform comes from like it just is who I am, and so when I'm not doing it, I feel like being I'm not being myself. So it just comes from just my eagerness to express myself and eagerness to feel connected to who I am. So when I'm performing, when I'm writing, that is the purest form of who I am. And that's why I feel so passionate about doing that, because this is the one time. It's so funny, we open up with Cooperators. That song is talking about like the not being able to connect to that, and
it's kind of ironic.
it's kind of, it's like, yeah, like
a space where you can feel most connected to yourself. You're talking about being disconnected from yourself.
Like that, I'm so like, that song is so funny to me. Well, it's not funny, but it's very like, it makes me feel reflective because like right now, like I'm still working jobs while doing this. It is a very arduous task trying to continue to be an artist in this world that we live in, right? But that's where my passion comes from. It's like, I know what it's like and how I am when I'm not connected to this. This is the one space I have, the one place that I can be myself. And it's the one place where I can just, I don't care about how I look, how I present. This is just me in my purest form. And yeah, so that's really what drives it. It's like, I grew up doing this, and I don't think I ever want to stop doing it because it's who I am.
It's in you, it's not on you.
Exactly. I need to make that a t-shirt.
Yep.
Well, that would be kind of crazy. It is on me, though.
Technically, the shirt will be on you, but...
The shirt's still on me.
All right, Matt, so your production style is like very lush and layered without being busy or messy. And like I've been a fan of your production since before you guys even connected, because we knew each other.
Yeah, we've seen for damn near 15 years now.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Damn, you just look into the
camera. That was the opportunity. You do like that. Push in. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. So like, what drives those stylistic choices to be so complex and layered, and knowing not to like overcook it?
Yeah, because it's so easy to.
Yes.
Well, I started making beats in high school. One of my earliest like inspiration was Flying Lotus, and so I studied it and imitated very early on. One thing that stands out immediately when you listen to like Cosmogram or the textures. So I'm listening to how he's using the textures, what he's using, and what separates him from other electronic producers. You can really get into like an arms race of like gear, when it comes, especially in electronic music. But there's something intangible about combining organic elements with the electronic stuff. And there's also like real, like, it's great storytelling as well. It adds context and space and like air to things.
Like the teacup thing in Cooperators.
Like the teacup.
Because you mentioned Get Out.
Mm-hmm.
So like the idea of hypnotism and the idea like coinciding with like the voice trying to lull you.
Exactly.
So I see.
Yeah. So earlier on, I was absolutely like suffocating stuff with like texture and layers.
Mm-hmm.
But that was before I was working with April, pretty much. You find out once you begin working with like, you know, vocalists that the vocal is also an instrument that takes up that fills space, and you need to carve out space for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the production, the composition is kind of like you're building the world for the story to live in, right?
Yeah.
You know, you're like furnishing the room, but there needs to be somewhere for the person to sit, and that's what the text. You know, that's what I try to keep in mind when it comes to like how I'm using the textures, pushing it back far enough. Leaving things just sparse enough for like the vocalist to be able to like spread out and actually talk about something, because
Mm-hmm.
that person needs to be at the center, things like that. And that's something I'm learning more and more. I'm listening to like, you know, like the Dawn Pin song. One of the thing I love the most is how sparse it is, but how effective it is. There's all this texture and all this grit. And then you find out that texture it's not always just a record player pop sounds in the background or the teacup. It's how it's recorded.
The types of gear.
The types of gear.
It goes back to the Gear Wars.
Yeah, but the room you're in,
Yeah.
the mic you're using, whatever, all of these like add context, and that's what I try to like think about when I use texture, like what context am I bringing to it?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm just if we're recording in like a super clean studio and everything's clean, then there's there's no story here. But we especially with elements of You Are Here, the stuff that we're doing now, I try to think about grit rather than having texture layers.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, let's record this in like a warehousey space, because that speaks more to where we are than, you know, recording in the studio.
Your environment.
The environments, you know,
Is an instrument.
So, yeah, texture.
And no to clean studios. Boo.
Yeah, also I'm not a fan of studios. So this also really helped. So
I'm not mad at that. I like studios because like with the big shininess, there's like almost like a
yeah, like
I'm here.
yes.
There's a very I'm here kind of feeling to being in a studio space, but also there's nothing like being in a comfortable space with like people that you rock with and that you feel like are gonna, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like I record in this space,
Mm-hmm.
and like I'm in the booth, but like, and this is a studio, but this is like the homie studio.
Exactly.
And like
Exactly.
we're cracking jokes. There are sessions where like we don't get shit done, but crack jokes and like just
important.
bounce ideas.
Because you're not paying
Yeah.
like $1,000,000,000 cajillion dollars to be there. I feel like one thing that we learned that we didn't know is I love this music journey is because you just learn so many different things about yourself and like what kinds of environments you thrive in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like we thought early on, like, oh, we have to be official. You must go to an official studio. Like
Yeah.
that should be your goal. Your goal should be like one day I want to record at an Abbey Road or whatever. But then, you know, as you record, you realize, oh, I actually don't thrive in that type of environment. I kind of thrive at home, or I kind of thrive in this space with my friends. And I feel like sometimes when you go to like fancy studios, you feel like you're button up suit and tie, like I'm on time limit, like I gotta
You sanitize
you
it.
know, it's very sanitizing experience, and you don't feel like you have the time to chill and lay back. Even if you do have like a full day session or whatever, like I still struggle to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And so we both much prefer like recording at home or with friends, and like Matt said earlier, like sometimes we do unconventional spaces because it speaks to the song, but it also is just like it's disarming. You go inside and everyone can just relax You know, you know the equipment you're working with.
Yeah, we're like huge tinkers. You can't go to like a commercial studio.
And
Tinker with their
tinker.
stuff.
Yeah, there's an engineer there, and you're like, "Can I use that mic on
Yeah.
this?" And they're like,
I hate
"I
that.
wouldn't do that." And then they're like,
Tinker.
"Okay."
It's like, but
Can I use
but you're not me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I don't kind of care what you would do.
Right. So yeah, you're dealing with other people's stuff, and you don't know the
You feel-
workflow.
It's not your space.
It's not
Yeah.
yours. Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, been following you guys for years on Twitter, and I've seen one of you, and I won't say who,
Probably me.
go on rants from time to time.
I am off to. I'm not allowed to do that anymore. I
Nah.
don't do it anymore.
So
I
I'm
did one a week
gonna
ago.
share this with you.
Oh, you brought it out.
Here, take it. Go ahead.
This is the moment I read.
I want her to read it actually, because it's hard to find. It's real because I know you be deleting
No.
them.
It's like an
Yeah.
IRL
Yeah.
this you moment.
Yeah, is this you?
This was a setup.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm cool.
Yeah,
I
this
stand
yours.
behind this.
We did our
for
research.
real. I stand behind this.
Can you read it?
Oh, I remember this. We are constantly getting trolled. We could release a hardcore screamo song, and it would be lauded as soulful, smooth, sultry. It pains me. Yeah, I was blown.
Because
Yeah,
What year
so
is
like
it?
I know that
2022.
as somebody that's followed you guys, I've noticed how
It's a sneak.
genre becomes a subject of contention. I'll just put it like that. So like, how do you guys define the genres that you work in?
I don't even think in it. It's just, you know, whatever we're making, if it sounds good, then that's what we're making.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, then that's where we land on, right? So I'm not, if it sounds like R&B and that was our intention,
Yeah.
then hell yeah, right? But oftentimes our influences are like way left, and we're like trying to associate with the other things.
Mm-hmm.
But because we're like a black duo, you know, folks like assume or try to like keep us in you know, specific genres. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Kind of like segregated that way.
So urban.
Yeah, keep it in urban.
Keep it in urban.
There's I absolutely love like we listen to soul music constantly and R&B. I'm pulling things from everywhere, but I feel like it's kind of reductive to only identify that influence when there's so much more to the stuff that we're throwing in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where this came from was like some of my favorite bands, like your Stereo Lab or Radiohead or Little Dragon or Hiatus Coyote. Like you see all those bands, and they do pull from soul music, from a lot of what I like to call black classical music, your soul, your jazz, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And when listeners or folks in the industry hear it coming from those folks, they hear all these different layers and influences. When you read about how they review what they've heard, they understand the layers and the thought that they put into it, and the different. They're so easy. It's so easy for them to connect the dots.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's time for us to make songs, even if we're making it with those people, you know, even if I'm there,
'Cause-
you still don't give us the space. It's like, oh yeah, it's R&B kids.
It was funny when like Pit of My Dreams was like
The least R&B.
yeah for the folks that like, you know, listened to it and dug in, it was kind of like polarizing
Mhm.
because we put out You Are Here, and in retrospect,
There was
I
some
admit
R&B stuff, and we
yeah, it
labeled it
was-
that as such. I will say,
I feel like we were like, this is not R&B.
Y'all would definitely.
we were,
we
but
were
we
absolutely
labeled it as such because
bucking
we were like,
against-
this will
If I
stand out.
if I listen to it now, I'd be like, I can see how this is a
Uh-huh.
little like all
Yeah.
R&B. But you know, You Are Here was super popular. Then we got into our mode and made Pit of My Dreams, which is like objectively not that sound.
In any way.
And I feel like a lot of people who love Pit of My Dreams a lot of people who love You Are Here and listen to Pit of My Dreams was like, this is terrible R&B. And I was like, well,
You didn't even try.
It's not R&B.
it's not. Yeah,
Mhm.
but it's not. That's why.
Yeah. And there's
But-
so many different like artists. There's black artists right now who are making extremely expansive music and they are, labeled correctly and stuff. So I know that that can happen. And I don't think we're being singled out. I just think that that's the plight of being the type of artist who can make any genre. Once you like, there's something to be said when you have like the genre that you stand by and that's what you make and you become very, very good with that. That is to be celebrated too. But I think that when you are a Black musician and you can make anything, people don't know what to do with that. And they're like, I've got to find one of these has to be where you live. I don't know if I can connect all the dots right now because I have that people pretend that they don't have a frame of reference, but you could think of any of our any artists that came before us who you would probably think is just funk or just soul, but they're pulling from all kinds of stuff too. Just that this is like an ever present. This is an ever present plight of the artist that can defy anything and just do anything.
It seems like a little intellectual laziness from people.
Yeah,
and there's racism in there. Like when there's white people who are journalists and they listen to this kind of stuff, they don't really want to give.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even want to spend time thinking about where it's coming from because they're just so stuck on what they think you sound like.
Mm-hmm.
And so much of music is all about perception anyway, which is like can be really frustrating and also very liberating as well. But this tweet came from the frustration with how much we put so much effort and we listen to so much stuff. We've studied so much stuff. Like when I was growing up, I studied violin classically. I studied piano classically, and I studied like those dry hymns and those hymn books in church. Like that's the stuff I was studying. And those are, totally different genres, totally different experiences than what I'm making now. There's so many different expressions.
You're pulling from so many places. It doesn't feel fair to be put in a box that limits you, almost blocking you away from those spaces that you're pulling from. I feel that.
It's like taking a part of your identity and saying, I'm just not gonna even recognize that. It's like, what the heck? He grew up listening to like just grunge rock music.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah. My mom, every time April tweets, my mom will call me like, what is April talking about here?
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah, delete it.
Because I've noticed there have been like a couple of threads of people responding to stuff about genre with you, and I'll scroll up like, what did she say? And it's just post deleted by author. I'm like,
yeah, gotta go. It's gotta go. We have a quick.
I think my man's over here got some question. What's good, Magniff?
Hey, so you guys talked about some of the things that you guys went through during the pandemic, and you talk about how hard it was to be an artist and have these different jobs. So what does the beauty in your burdens explain to you guys, and what did you gain from it afterwards?
I feel like, when you're just an indie artist with a job, you have to like treat your craft as like a practice. Like, you have to be disciplined about it, or else it can just like sink into a hobby, or you just end up not doing it at all because you're too tired after work. So especially like post-pandemic, now I, practice or I create, like I'm like checking into the gym. And that has, really been great. Before, making beats was really, really hard because I'm trying to like, I don't know where to start, I'm not inspired. But since the pandemic, I've learned that, you don't need inspiration to begin. And as long as you like hit one note, you can start from there, and then the inspiration will come as long as you don't stop. Start with a bad idea, keep working at it, and then eventually it'll turn into a good idea as long as you keep picking at it.
And it's okay if it doesn't, because you exercise your muscle.
And even if it's not a bad idea, it's totally fine. Like, these are not do or die ideas. You know, the creativity just regenerates. Just, you know, that's where I try to keep it. I have to stay like positive in order to, you know, make good music. I can't like make it from a really like sad place or else there's nothing there. So I trick my brain that way, you know, just make things, make bad things, make good things, make whatever, just keep it, come back to it the next day. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad, whatever. I'm just gonna keep going. So that's one thing that I'm grateful for, like the pandemic being such a pressure cooker, or having the job being such a pressure cooker for creativity.
Yeah, I'm bad at it. I'm so totally terrible at discipline, and I'm the total opposite. Like I feel like I need to be inspired in order to write, or in order to do stuff, and I'm not the best at practicing and doing all those things because, like what he said, like sometimes I can get extremely tired after working, and you know I work in in a creative field. So I have to use those same muscles again after an 8-hour workday to then be creative again. And sometimes I struggle with lifting my finger after that. I'm just like, I'm done. I'm going to veg out and play Stardew Valley for 8 hours now until I go to sleep because I need to rest my brain. But like I think Matt pushes me to stay on task. And so I think for me, it's the beauty in it is collaboration and having someone to hold me accountable and say, hey, you're messing up. Like, you're not practicing. So you need to get up and do something. Like, I actually really need that motivation or else I'll, you know, just combust. I'll just be crushed under the weight of, like, having all these different things that I know I want to do, but I can't pick which one to start.
But being in a duo is like such a cheat code. Like
Yeah.
we're always, if I'm tired, then you're working on, you know, something. April's
The
tired.
work can get done or the work can make progress
Yeah.
even if
'Cause
one of you needs a break.
Yeah.
Because we do more than just make the music. Like
Mhm.
we design like this vinyl. We designed this whole thing. We worked with Taryn, who created the beautiful paintings. We design all of our packaging. We design our own websites, our own posters, everything.
Yeah.
And so like that's another thing that we can kind of like pick what we're gonna work on. Sometimes if he's not working on something, I'm most likely designing something or doing something or doing the business side. Like we have Excel sheets on Excel sheets on Excel
I
sheets.
figured that out as a cheat code as well. Like
You
when I'm
need
not inspired, it's work to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And all the work doesn't require inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
So if I just keep on
Exactly.
showing up, all right, I got a podcast. Okay, I need to figure out something for merch. Okay, I need to coordinate with my managers around throwing this next concert, or like I'm always trying to do something with what little team and resources I have. So like, all right, I'm having writer's block for the month of October, and that's okay because I have work that I've already written that I need to record
Yeah.
or it can be reproduced. I can just talk to a producer like, hey, how can we bounce ideas around like fixing these beats or jazzing them up? So it's like showing up.
Yeah, just showing up.
Just show up.
Showing up and staying on task as much as you can.
And also, one thing I learned is hobbies extremely important. Have interests outside
time.
of your thing. You know what I'm saying?
That's why y'all gamers.
Yes.
That's why we're gamers.
Yes.
Not for real.
I
So,
would literally, my head would explode if I did not.
I feel that.
but then you find out, like, you know, going back to the whole practice thing, all of these associations that I bring back to music or bring back to like practicing an instrument, like I'll go to the gym or something and I'm trying to work. I'm just applying like my gym practice to the music practice, or I got into skateboarding, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to kickflip. Realize maybe it's easier to learn this trick before I get to the kickflip. Then I sit down at the piano, and I'm like, maybe it's easier to
practice this thing.
Practice this thing. Then
to build up to.
I'll build the muscle to get to this thing.
Yeah.
And if I think of everything like that, there are fewer blocks
Mm-hmm.
They're just more detours.
You're pulling from other parts of life in order to enrich every other part of life.
Yeah.
If you're doing it right, I've recognized that too. Like with music, the lessons that I've learned in life through music
Mm-hmm.
that I can apply elsewhere. This is stuff that I learned from the gym, like just train to failure.
Yeah.
Sometimes your muscles aren't going to be as strong today as they were 2 days ago or last week. But if you train to whatever failure is today, you'll be better for it tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like that can apply to music. Like, hey man, you wrote to the best of your ability today.
Mm-hmm.
Try again tomorrow.
Please don't let this be another tweet.
It's not a tweet, I promise.
Okay. I can't defend
So-
myself too many times. Okay.
Go ahead, flip it over. And
Oh.
what would you say?
Oh.
What do you have to say to these people in this picture?
Oh man, you gonna make me cry.
Man, I wish I had walked away from the fade a lot earlier. I held on to that too long. Too long I did.
Relatable.
And it just doesn't work with the headphones. But this was at the old
Wow.
what's the venue?
This is Songbird.
Songbird, the old Songbird.
The original Songbird.
Yeah, OG Songbird with the beam, and we're to the left of the beam.
Yeah.
April, you start.
Man. Damn. I would tell her that it happens.
Mm.
This is gonna make me cry. It happens. It does.
I
It
can't top
happens.
that.
Like there. It,
I can't top that.
I remember back then, like we were so like very just focused on making it, and just focused on like we worked extremely hard, but there were times where it didn't feel like anything was gonna like materialize. Like it was like, am I just doing stuff to be doing stuff? Like is this even working?
Yeah.
And it was a grind, and I would want to tell both of us, you know, it works out. The things that you thought would never happen for you are going to happen. I remember at that time, you know, I was battling doubt from all aspects of my life, from not only myself, but from like my family's like, what are you doing? Like, you gotta work. What job are you working right now? Like, you gotta start preparing for your future. And it's like when you're an artist and you're working to be a better artist and to make those dreams come true. It takes a long time. I'm sitting here looking at myself 10 years later. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Life is long, and it's a blip in the grand scheme of things, but that is a really big stretch.
Life is the longest thing we'll ever do.
Mm-hmm. And it's just like, I just want both of us to know that you get in-ears.
Get in-ears?
There won't be any dropouts anymore. You're going to be on a stage. The last stage we performed last year had over 5,000 people surrounding us. And this is Songbird. You know, we had
Like
probably like
200
30
capacity.
people in
Yeah.
this crowd this night, and it was all of our friends, and we had so much fun. But we have grown so much. So that's what I mean by it happens. Like,
Yeah.
and
I
there's so
don't-
much more too.
I don't think I'd have anything to say. I think we were on the right path at this time. Like, I'm grateful for all the stress we put ourselves under, you know, and how like overly seriously we took the whole thing because it got us to this point. And I'm really satisfied with where we are right now and, you know, our trajectory and stuff like that. Yeah, I would say that, yeah, just to continue to do as you were doing because, you know, we are where we're supposed to be.
And
Everything's in its right place.
Maybe start those locks a little early.
A little earlier. Cut the freeforms a lot earlier. That's what I would tell
I should
myself.
chop my hair a lot earlier.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, forget the
Couple of style
forget-
changes. A couple
forget
of style
the
changes.
detangling, man. Just chop it off.
A few style changes for sure. Use I would probably try to like introduce some like better cable management back then.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like we were just learning.
just learning. There are so many like really
You had to be there to
hilarious.
get here though.
Yes,
You know,
need it.
but if I were like, if I had like a cable snake back then,
Oh,
then we'd have flying cars right now.
All right. On that note,
Man.
on that note, hey man, I really appreciate y'all so much.
Thank you for having us.
Wow. So again, April Vista, and I'm Nomad the Native, and this was not a sample, not a clip, not none of that shit. This is the snippet. Thank you.
You'll be alright.
Hey, yo. Hey, son. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if so, then comment, like, subscribe, follow, disagree, whatever. I mean, this is a show by the artist for the artist. So, if you want to be featured, just hit us. There ain't nothing but an email or a DM away. Until next time. Peace.